Hello, here are your headlines at 6 o'clock, and inflation is predicted to fall below 10% for the first time since August, when official figures are released later this morning.
But even if inflation comes down, prices will still be rising sharply and significantly higher than they were a year ago. Good morning from the Liverpool wholesale market, where I'm finding out how the high cost of food is hitting wholesalers, businesses and households.
Boris Johnson's referred to police by the Cabinet Office over new claims that he broke lockdown rules during the pandemic. He denies any wrongdoing.
The independent police watchdog is to send investigators to Cardiff following Monday night's riot, which started after two teenage boys were killed in a crash.
In sport this morning, the racism row in Spanish football. Real Madrid star Vinicius Jr. has his red card rescinded as people protest in his native Brazil over the racial abuse of their star player.
An elderly woman who was hit by a police motorcycle escorting the Duchess of Edinburgh has died. 81-year-old Helen Holland had been in hospital in critical condition since she was hit by the motorcycle 2 weeks ago. The incident is being investigated by the Independent Office for Police Conduct.
The number of people paying privately for operations and treatments in the UK has risen by more than a third since the pandemic started. Figures from the Private Healthcare Information Network show that 272,000 people used their own money to pay for treatments last year, such as knee or eye surgery, some of it costing as much as £15,000. The NHS backlog has been blamed for the trend.
A Victorian train station in southeast London has had a £2.5 million restoration. Peckham Rye is one of the busiest interchange stations in the capital. The work on the outside of the building, which was built in 1865, has seen stonework restored as well as some of the lost ironwork reinstated.
The architect Charles Henry Driver was celebrated for his cast iron work, and so really exciting aspect to this project is remaking in an iron foundry the lost cast iron crustings. So here you can see fabulous Italian 23.75 carat gold that's been lovingly laid onto this ironwork here.
Let's have a look at what today's newspapers are saying. We begin with the Daily Telegraph. It's among several to lead on a new investigation into alleged breaches of COVID lockdown rules by the former Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Nick was just sharing some detail of this story. The paper quotes anonymous allies of Mr Johnson. They say it is a political smear.
It's on the front page of the Mail as well this morning. They also quote unnamed sources who say Mr Johnson is, quote, seriously considering taking legal action against the Cabinet Office for giving his diary entries to the police.
The death of Rolf Harris features on many front pages. The Mirror saying there will be a secret funeral for the disgraced star.
And one of the most watched items on the BBC News website right now concerns the kick-off time of the Scottish Cup final between Celtic and Inverness Caledonian Thistle. It's moving from its traditional 3 o'clock slot to 5:30. First time that has ever happened. And as you will read there, many fans are not happy about it.
Look at what's making the front pages for you this morning. And the Eye leads with the Cabinet Office, referring the former Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been saying to the police over new allegations that he broke COVID rules. He continues to deny any wrongdoing. Well, the Express describes those claims against Mr Johnson as a stitch-up. The Telegraph says his allies are calling it a smear campaign. The Mail suggests he intends to sue the Cabinet Office over the matter. The Mirror proclaims cops probe Boris again. And it's also the lead story for The Guardian. Well, the Metro reports on the death of the disgraced entertainer Rolf Harris. The paper says that, in fact, it happened 2 weeks ago, after which he was cremated. And The Sun has an identical headline, Vile Rolf's Secret Funeral. And The Times says the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, has been advised by the International Monetary Fund that now would be a bad time to cut taxes. And if you want to see any of those front pages again or read the stories, scan the QR code on the screen.